Welcome back to Jason Unleashed. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? Jason Carty here. Thank you so much for watching. Good to see you. Good to be here with you guys today. It's raining like a mofo here in Miami. It's really weird weather. It's sunshiny one minute and then downpouring the next. But I guess that's the beauty of living down in South Florida. Good stuff. Happy to be here with you guys because my guest today is a good friend, someone who I look up to, who I celebrate, who's just wonderful. She's AIDA Rodriguez. She is a producer, writer, comedian, activist, and just an all-around kick-ass woman. And she's here, so let's bring her in. AIDA. Hey. AIDA. Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. You're in Miami, home for me.
I'm in Miami. Yeah, I'm in this. It's my new digs. It's my. I had to escape the West Coast to the southern East Coast.
Why did you leave, though?
Ida, come on. That's a whole other conversation. But just a lot of things. It was time, and fresh, new beginnings, new start. Why not? Why not? Right?
So many people are leaving Los Angeles. That's why I sound frantic when I ask, because everybody's leaving, and I feel like I'm going to end up leaving too. I want to end up somewhere with some horses. Like, I don't.
Horses? Why horses?
I love horses.
Oh, okay. Well, hey. Well, then may the stables come running to you then. I hope you go someplace there's lots of... It's so good to see you. Quarantine, you've been busy. How has life been?
Life has been great. It's been unpredictable. It has been pretty comical, right? Like we are so, human beings are so arrogant. Americans are so arrogant. We sit around thinking that we can do anything and everything that we want. And then the planet says, pause.
Nope. Right.
And so it's been really, I think it's been great for me to have this time with myself, because I've been doing a lot of growing and just, getting better at being myself and a grown-up. How about you?
Same. And you know what? It's so wonderful that you mentioned that, Ida, because and all the people I've interviewed in quarantine doing Jason Unleashed, that's been one of the conversations we've had is, what is the thing that you've learned about yourself in quarantine that you finally have had the time to really marinate in and really get comfy with? And it could be something wonderful, like you discover, oh my gosh, you can lick your elbow, to some things that are not so wonderful that you've been able to really just get a handle on, because as you know, Los Angeles is go, 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 this business. And being people of color, we're hard workers. Our ethic is like no other. I mean, this country is built on the sweat of our backs. So to have time to pause and go within is a blessing. It's one of the silver linings, I think.
Yeah, I'll tell you a couple of things. Like, one of the things that I've really been dealing with is that I'm all right. I'm cool. Like, being in a town where you're made to feel less than for your gender, your race, your age, and all, so much stimulus constantly everywhere we go. We go to the gas station and they have TV shows showing to keep us distracted all the time. And you start feeling like, you start judging yourself against people who are on Instagram with filters and all this other stuff. And you start thinking there's something wrong with you. That's just the physical. But then also, I just learned through recent conflicts and relationships that I'm not a bad person. I'm pretty true to who I am, and I show up, and just to give myself some space and forgive myself for being flawed, because we're all humans and we're all flawed. And a lot of times we're judging ourselves against this metric that doesn't even exist.
Right. Well, a metric, honestly, that we've perpetuated ourselves, that we've allowed ourselves to believe that is the benchmark, that we've allowed ourselves to subscribe to and try to attain, that's unattainable. I mean, like being Mary Jane, the slogan was perfectly imperfect. I think that's what people are finally getting comfortable being, is perfectly imperfect. But are people shocked, Ida, at how woke you are and how informed you are? Because we've had the pleasure of working together on the Young Turks, and it's always a pleasure to see you there. But you are just this hub of education, of activism, of realness, of authenticity. Are people shocked that you as a comedian are also fully informed, very well read, and highly versed in the policies and topics and the issues of today?
Sometimes people are, you know, what's funny is that what people consider to be woke is just what I've considered my whole life as to employing my humanity to see that the village eats, you know, and I just grew up with a village mentality because I grew up, my grandmother raised me. And this whole idea, this individualism that is very American is not, it's not organic to where I come from, you know, where I am, where I come from historically, where I come from culturally. So, you know, it's funny to me that people call it woke, you know, because I guess it is an awakening. It should be an awakening for people who belong to the privileged status, elite status, who've been enjoying all of the fruits and have never been marginalized. But those of us who have been marginalized have always known that these things are happening.
True.
So, you know, like, so when people say woke, you know, I mean, 5%ers were talking about this in rap music in the 80s and the 90s. Like, it's just really interesting that people, but yes, people are surprised that I'm not using my platform to be more tedious and talk about things that are a lot more trivial. And again, they're perplexed as to why would I want to bring that on myself? Because I could make my life so much easier just talking about fellatio and anal sex or whatever it is that, you know, that dirty comics talk about. And they're like, why do you want to talk about race? But it's far more fulfilling for me to just be my ultimate self on stage.
Well, you are your ultimate self on every stage that you want. I mean, the complexities of being AIDA Rodriguez are tremendous. And let's talk about comedy, because you are loved the world over, and you've said in so many interviews. I watched an amazing interview with you in the Breakfast Club. I know you're friends with Charlemagne and Angela Yee and Ebro and all. I mean, DNB. You say that you tell jokes. You don't tell jokes. You tell about your life. That comedy, you've used comedy to heal some of the things that have happened in your life. Take us through that journey, because you've touched on being kidnapped. You've touched on so many things in your life that have allowed you to infuse that into your comedy, which has led you to be successful. Take us on that journey.
Well, you know, it's funny because being part of the community that I'm a part of, you know, Caribbean Latin people, Caribbean Latinx people, for those who will shatter when I say Latin. We are reared through guilt and shame. And many of the things that happen to us, we are taught to sweep under the rug. We don't talk about it. We don't air out our dirty laundry, because when things happen to us, then it is a reflection on the elders, and we're not supposed to shame them. So for me, with comedy, I feel like if I can use my stories through comedy to release other people from shame and guilt, that it heals them, and in turn it heals me. And so the little dirty secrets about the anti-Blackness in the Latin community, the Latinx community, about the homophobia and the transphobia, you know, about the sexual abuse and within family members and stuff like that, that we don't talk about, because we're taught to just sweep it under the rug. Like, don't talk about that. And we even whispered the word Black. And this has been my week. Every week I have a mission to do something. When they talk about a Black person being present, and a lot of times they are the Black people, they'll say, un negro, he's Black.
Right.
Like it's a bad word. And it's like, say it, black, 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 black. It's not a bad word. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Say it, you know.
Right.
But so all of that stuff is just, I just think that there's so much funny in it. And my people specifically don't have a voice in that world. You know, the people that come from where I come from don't have a voice in that world. And I feel, you know, I feel a sense of responsibility, but I also feel honored to be able to talk about those things.
conversations about Blackness in the Afro-Latina community. What has that been in the wake of Black Lives Matter? Because we've seen Latinos for Black Lives Matter. We've seen this. I mean, you cannot deny the intersectionality of both cultures. They're both marginalized. They're both trying to survive day to day. For yourself, though, because you are so vocal, unapologetically so vocal on all your platforms, and you have white supremacists coming for you on Facebook. I mean, you just you're constantly giving of your voice, regardless of, I hate to say consequences because there should never be consequences. Yeah, but seriously, what are those conversations you're having with other Afro Latinos and Latinx people about Black Lives Matter and Blackness?
Well, because the thing is that within that intersectionality within Latinx and Black people, there are Black people that are both. And a lot of times they are erased from the conversations. Like I just saw that Julian Castro article where he says, you know, Latinos love Hollywood, but Hollywood loves Latinos. And then there's a picture and there's no Black Latin people in there. You know, the prototype of what being Latin in Hollywood has been, you know, someone who's white passing and white adjacent. But the indigenous and the Black Latin people are marginalized in a way where there are a lot of Black Latinx people working in Hollywood. You know, Elvis Nolasco was in American Crime. You know, Gina Torres was in Pearson. Was Pearson. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Jarrell won an Emmy last year. And he's Dominican. So I think it's important for us to, you know, I'm privileged within being the Afro-Latino spectrum because I'm a lighter skinned person. And if, you know, those of us who are lighter hijack the term, then we erase the darker skinned Latinx people. So it's just very, you know, and I try my best to use my privilege to help, you know, if I got to fight, you know, the white supremacists, I don't want to fight my people. And, you know, I think it's important to have these conversations because there's been a Black Lives Matter movement in Puerto Rico and in the Dominican Republic. And it started a while ago because Black Lives Matter means something to the Black people in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic too.
Right. I mean, I am Afro-Latino as well. My dad's Honduran. So, and I grew up, I grew up, I mean, they're from New Orleans, and down south, it's, again, the conversation, right, is how it's taboo. Like, ooh, are you a darker complected Black person, or are you mixed? It's a whole other science of existence that we can get into in another IG live. But it's just funny how this conversation's come up with some of my friends about being Afro-Latino and where do they stand and how do they identify, and, you know, are they shunning their culture, saying, well, I'm Black, but you're also Latino. We have it hard too, you know. So it's like you're in between two worlds. But with that said, comedy is something that is such a big part of your life, right? And congratulations on developing a new show for HBO Max. That's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so happy about it.
Can you dish about it? Can I get some exclusive? Ida, come on, hook a brother up.
Okay, I'll tell you. So basically, the story is I sold that show maybe the Thursday after I taped my They Ready special. I went in. Tiffany Haddish, who produced my They Ready special, gave me the opportunity, had been saying to me that she wanted to develop a show in which that I acted in. She's like, I've been wanting to do a show with you. I want to do it. So she was, you know, she skyrocketed and she was so busy. So I went and I sold the show. And then I talked to her and she was like, you know, I wanted to be a part of your show. So I went to HBO Max and I said, I would like to bring Tiffany aboard as a producer and I want to throw the rope back to her.
Throw the rope.
She came on to EP the show with me. And so a lot of people don't know that. People saw the article and thought that Tiffany Haddish got me a TV show. And I guess in essence, with giving me some heat with the Netflix special, I guess, but it was I think they kind of hijacked from me that, and that's because that's the way the press works, right? That's
right, yeah.
But it took away from me my gesture to reciprocate with her. She had done such a great thing for me. and that I was able to do it with her as well. So I brought her on to executive produce. We are 2 drafts in, and now we're waiting on HBO Max to deliberate.
I love that. I love it. Congratulations. Throwing back the rope. But a lot of people don't know that They Ready, the Netflix special, Tiffany took a huge pay cut. Didn't even get a fraction of what she should have got in comparison to her non-PLC counterparts, and also male comedians that were paid millions upon millions to do these Netflix series, which I'm going to keep it 100. Some of them suck. Like the reason why we get behind them is because they're easy, they're accessible, they're available, and they're on Netflix. Doesn't mean they're good, right? Doesn't mean they're good. They Ready was good because you had a white woman, you had a transgender person with transgender experience, and you could tell the sisterhood, the camaraderie. And for Tiffany to say, listen, I am the biggest black comedian, female comedian since I don't know who, since Whoopi. But I'm not doing this unless I bring my girls with me. Where you at? Is huge. Is huge. And what's funny about that too, in a good way, is that you grind hard in this business, Aida. You know that. So it takes you, an overnight success is 20 years in the making, if not more. And when you finally get that, boom, we see you, here's some scraps. People want to act like I can't help anybody else because I'm trying to hold on to what I've worked so hard to get. So for Tiffany to say, no, my friend Aida was sleeping in an expedition. She has a story to tell. She's been there through thick and thin with me. She's coming with is huge. I wish more people would extend that type of loyalty. Because I've said this time and time again, loyalty doesn't exist in Hollywood. Loyalty doesn't exist in like humanity these days if you want to keep it 100.
Well, what's funny is that it's really, we've been indoctrinated into believing that there's only one spot at the top. So everybody is so scared. We all acting like Steven from Django. Like, wow, look at what they doing. And I think that is, it's really, unfortunate because we can build so much more if we created, the bridges, if we started building bridges with each other and creating our own equity in this town. So she is who she says she is, and she did what she said she was going to do. And I really respect her for that. And I expect, to do it as well. I think it's important for me to be able to reciprocate, and to not just with her, but to create opportunities for other people.
I agree. I want to take a minute to shout out everyone in the comment section. I want to say what's up to Aaron Rogers, who says he is Afro-Latino, grew up with him. Aaron, how you doing? Taylor, everyone's celebrating you here in the comments right now. Aida, it's awesome. Aida has been a real one, and so is Tiffany. It's refreshing to see. I would agree. It's cool, and you guys are like just funny. There's also to be said about people who are actually funny, because there's the world of comedy. They say nothing's off limits in comedy, and people like to, I watch a lot of specials and see a lot of comics that try so hard to be funny, right? And they're not. I guess it's all subjective, because what's humorous to one person isn't to the next. But you guys together there's just a good synergy. And the They Ready Netflix special was worth it. It was like, it was good. It was good. I give it a stamp of approval, and I'm a hard critic, so congratulations on that. This Biden-Kamala ticket, I know you have lots to say about it. How you feeling?
Oh, man. You know what's funny? This is the worst feeling in the world, is to feel that you are doing whatever you need to do to survive, right? And I feel like this is, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this ticket. But what I will not allow is people to demonize Kamala Harris or hold her to a different standard than they hold all of the white men who are in Washington.
That part.
And that is like, I'm not in denial about the policies that she did that were, the policies that she enforced that were problematic within the Black community, because I think it's important to be honest and hold her accountable for that. But when I see Rose McGowan tweeting about Kamala Harris getting money for Harvey Weinstein, or I see people saying that tweeting the picture of Michelle Obama with Harvey Weinstein. Half of Hollywood has pictures with Harvey Weinstein. He was a producer that people didn't know was a rapist. When Michelle Obama turned her daughter over to him to intern at his company if she thought he was a rapist, you know what I mean?
No.
Like people don't think about those things. So I'm tired of Black women always being held to this standard. Like, you know, get your mouth off the titties of Black women. You've had your mouth on their titties since slavery. They don't owe you anything. They don't have to rescue the world. And so when it comes to Kamala, I feel a lot of that energy. There's a lot of animus coming from everybody. And I don't think there's anything wrong with holding her accountable for the things that she's done. But I also don't think I don't think it's okay to hold her to a standard different from everybody else. Because if that's the case, you know what I mean? Like, I think that with liberals, because liberals can be so self-righteous, it takes on a different life, because conservatives will double down on things that are wrong.
Right.
Because they want collective power. So for them, they will sacrifice. They will fall behind Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump and Barr, because they don't care. You know what I'm saying? But I think that with liberals, they're so self-righteous that now they're checking each other, and it's just it's a mess. It's a it's a circus.
Yeah. It's a complete circus. I would agree. And, you know, people, I was talking to our colleague, Brooke Thomas, love Brooke Thomas, about this the other day. Hey, shout out to Brooke Thomas. And, you know, Trump, when he had his press conference after the announcement of the ticket before the DNC, calling her, she's an angry woman. And my question to Brooke was, let's exit liberals and go to the right. Is the only weapon they have against Kamala, beyond how she feels in regards to policy and gun control and whatnot, is because she's a Black woman? So like, no, we're gonna go really low and just say she's an angry Black woman. We're gonna say that she's typical, and I feel like she's going to be marred with that as well now, because, to be honest, I think what happens is when they win, because I think they're gonna take office in November. It's going to be Kamala's administration with Biden just being like, hey, I'm here, you guys. I'm here for the fun. I'm going to do a little, but Kamala's going to be the meat and potatoes of that. Am I wrong? Is that a feeling that you have as well?
Yeah. You know, first and foremost, I want to say that Black women have all the right to be angry. When they have to watch themselves, their sons, their brothers, their sisters getting assassinated and in real time on television. And, you know, when people say that, you know, women, that you're the angry Black woman, I think Black women are well within their right to be angry. So I just want to say that first. But the trope, which is the problem, is that, first of all, Kamala has never displayed anger. You never see her display anger. She's like Obama. They always have to contain themselves because of that, right? You know what I'm saying? She doesn't have the opportunity to be like, you know, she could never do any of that because she is trapped, you know. And then just think about Kamala's specific position, where she is Black to white people, but when it's convenient, because now they're questioning her Blackness, and then they question her Americanism. So I just think it'll be another 4 years of the things that we saw with Obama. You know, like, you'll see her having to contain herself, always having to take the high road, always having to outwork them, outsmart them, be 3 times as good, just to show that she, you know, it's the bullshit that women of color have to deal with all the time, Black women in America. And I think it's important to understand that people can evolve, like, just like we can evolve, so can they. And, you know, the truth is, our political system is broken. It's already damaged. Kamala didn't do that. Obama didn't do that. It's been in place for hundreds of years before we were even granted freedoms in this country. So it's become corrupt. It's toxic. It's been like that for a long time. So to come and point the fingers at Cory Booker and Kamala for getting these little checks that these white people have been getting for decades is hypocritical. It's been corrupt.
Right. Right. And like I've said time and time again, 4 years isn't going to fix 200 and some plus years of drama. It's really not. It's really
It
not.
isn't.
Yeah. Look, you're preaching the gospel here. I agree with everything you're saying. And you know, people ask, what can we do? How can we make things better? All these questions, and no one has the answers for that, but we have to celebrate the people who are at least trying to find the answers to that. I think Kamala is one of those people. Well, I want to go back to comedy though, Ida, because doing my research on you, the journalist I am.
Yeah, you are.
No, but seriously, you know, watching, first being in your presence, listening to you talk, working with you, and seeing everything you've done, comedy is such a huge part of your life. I feel like it's intrinsically and inherently just who you are. You know, one of the layers of who you are. Do you ever want to have conversations with the comedy god, with the comedy gods? And if you could talk to the comedy gods or talk to whoever has placed that talent and that purpose in your life, what would that conversation be? Because there's so many highs and lows, so many ups and downs, so many disappointments, so many successes. And you always want to know the rhyme or reason. But what would you have a conversation about someone who has given you the gift of comedy? What would you talk to them about?
Well, I would definitely speak specifically to this season, because if I had a conversation with Richard Pryor, I would ask, what's the equivalent of cancel culture on social media to that time when you pushed envelopes and said things that were taboo? For
Mm-hmm.
example, like, I don't intentionally set out to hurt people when I want to push envelopes, but I think that comedy is one of the avenues that we use to have uncomfortable conversations, because laughter eases us, right? And so when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about, things that are uncomfortable, how do you have those conversations, and how do you get past that season where people have become alarmed by what you said because you're trying to crack the door open so that we can have a conversation about these things? And those are the
Mm-hmm.
things I would ask, like, how did you navigate that and get on the other side of it? Because even if there was no Twitter or social media back then, there had to be the equivalent of what was unacceptable to the people in terms of what comedians were doing. So I would love to
Mm-hmm.
know how you navigate that.
Yeah, it's I know a lot of people. I think a lot of people like to talk to everyday people about how to navigate that, because that's the fear. I think it's taking away from authenticity because people are afraid to be truthful. But with your show, your podcast, Truth Serum, that's what you're doing with all kinds of great people. I mean, Truth Serum, for those watching, is Aida's podcast, yes, that you have, and you've had some incredible guests on. This was born in quarantine, right?
Well, actually, no. Truth Serum has been around for 5 years. I decided to make it a visual podcast during
Okay.
quarantine because I'm at home. And I wanted to do a weekly wrap-up show where we would talk about the things that happened during the week. And then it just became issues-based, where we just break down topics and talk about the topics and inform those topics with the headlines of the week. But it was something that I've decided to start again during quarantine because my road work stopped. So I had time to really think about it and plan it. And you got to come do it, as we talked about, having these conversations. But it's really about also talking about issues from the perspective of people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the progressive platforms sometimes are void of people of color. And
Right.
progressivism is ours because it's born of our struggle, right? The search for progress is to create equality and equity and balance the floor for the people who have been marginalized, and that's us. So I think it's important for us to have our own conversations, because I think that's one of the problems about being liberal. The liberals is that they want to speak for us. And sometimes they're like, wait, I
Right.
got it. And like, no, we can talk for ourselves. We have perspectives about politics and social issues. We don't just talk about rap music, and we talk about that too, and fashion, but we can also have conversations about social issues. And so I wanted to create that. And
Yeah,
it has
it's fun to listen to. You've had such a really colorful mix of different people on from different walks of life, different perspectives. In the show, though, you give of yourself. Like Ida, you are so giving of who you are, be it your opinions, be it your energy, your kindness, communication, doing stuff like that. Do you feel sometimes though you have to pull back and not give so much? Do you feel sometimes you overshare? Is your well depleted often?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes I'll tell you, it hurts more when when they turn on you, because you are like honestly purely just giving. Like truth
Mm-hmm.
serum is something we do because we really think it's important during this time to have conversations about us that are not polluted by the opinions of white people who think that they're doing us a service by marching with us or standing with
Mm-hmm.
us, you know. But yes, I think sometimes it can be heavy. And
Yeah.
so for like when we did, I had a trans show. I just wanted to be a vessel. I wanted to allow the human beings to have this conversation about their humanity. And I didn't want to be the one, you know, to say, well,
Right.
I did run one of my jokes by them. They told me that they thought the joke wasn't good and that I shouldn't do it anymore. So I retired the joke. But we had, you know, I just think it's important to have conversations where we can be free, because I think that the mainstream media is always targeting what they want to drive the conversation, because they want the sound bites, they want the videos, they want to go viral. And I just really want to just have conversations. But yes, sometimes it can be draining. I think, you know, it's funny. It's like some of my friends who could call themselves celebrities, because I hate that word, they'll say to me, you're too accessible to people and you have to stop being so accessible.
Yeah, that's always the funniest thing to hear, because I mean, I was raised that, you know, you welcome people, you want, you know, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and in my neighborhood, you know, you hang out with people, you're going to eat dinner. If they happen to be in the home, they're eating dinner with you. You know,
Same.
it's a familiar thing, right? They're, like you say, your village. Those are your village, those are your people. And so, but when you come to, I think as we've gotten older and we've ventured into Hollywood and this business and how jaded and toxic it is, you know, you start to erect this armor. You cultivate this armor that blocks you off from so much goodness, and rightfully so. You have to be very judicious and very selective on who you allow in your village. You don't want to have, you know, anyone infiltrate that's negative. But I think that also leans on, and it allows you to also shun the goodness. You know, it's this double-edged sword that no one really wins. No one really wins. But I do think that when you do give of yourself in a good nature like you do, it's really shitty when people turn that against you. They weaponize that. That's the
Absolutely.
worst. That's the worst, when you're coming from an awesome place and then you end up being the villain. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, and because it makes you second guess, one, your intentions, and two, like, damn, you know, like, maybe I've been stupid all this time to be a good person. You know, you had an amazing Instagram post about keep on being a good person, keep on showing love, keep on doing you. And
Yes.
it was just, it was, and I know where that was coming from. I knew where that was coming from, and I wish more people would adopt that. But I think in these times, people are just scared and they're tired of being betrayed, because betrayal is rampant. So,
It is. It is. It really is. I've tried to cultivate a relationship of my model for business, my model for family is the same, and everything is about creating. The word is tabuti, which is the word
mm-hmm.
for village in Swahili, and so
Right.
for me, it's about, you know, cultivating a village of people that work together for a common goal and keep creating more space for other people to keep coming, so that, you know, so for me, an ideal production company, which is what I'm building, is not me making television shows where you can see me, starring me, written by me, produced by me, directed by me. Sure. Also, TV shows that show different perspectives, different people who look like me, people darker than me, people lighter than me, people, you know, from different walks of life, to tell a collective of our stories. And so
Right.
that's how I approach everything. And it's
Yeah.
very hard in a place where so many people want to do their own thing only for them, you know?
Right. Yeah, the industry is a very self-serving and selfish, ugly beast. Glad to be in Miami now. Your village, your family. You are the mother of two beautiful children. Your daughter's in college. Yes, your daughter's just
She
starting college this year.
graduated.
Oh, oh, she's like a soap opera kid. Six one day,
Okay.
21 the next.
She's
So
right there. She graduated valedictorian of her school, and
love it.
you know, writing as well. She's a writer. Super dope. Both of them. They're
Super
both
dope.
dope.
I love that. I love that. Ida, we're excited for everything you're doing. Truth Serum is out once a week. Yeah.
So we do Fridays, but some days we do Thursdays, and we'll have comedy guests on Thursday. For like tomorrow, I'll have Earthquake on at 1, and then Friday we'll go on to our show. Next week I have Ebony. What's her name? Ebony. Why can't I think of anybody's name? She's
Ebony K. Williams. Yeah,
Ebony
Ebony K. Williams.
Ebony K. Williams, beautiful Ebony, the attorney, the
Yeah.
voice. She's going.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Richard Fowler are going to be
Nice.
on the 28th, the day before the march.
Cool.
So, yeah, they on the 27th actually. So yeah, we air Thursdays and Fridays.
Wonderful. And this new HBO Max series is coming. 2 episodes in. We're going to see it. It's going to be awesome.
Well, we're waiting to see if it gets greenlit, but we are, you know. And tomorrow there's a very special announcement coming out about me. And I really wish we would have done this show later in the day.
You could give me an exclusive. Wow. Okay, you know, it's all good. Okay, cool. No, save it. If it's for tomorrow, go, look, you own that. But congratulations on whatever it is. I know it's going to be awesome. That's great. And it's good to see all your success. Yeah.
HBO Max. I'm doing an hour special with them. So, yeah. So we're working out the details now, but I'm going to shoot it in New York, in the Bronx, and so the announcement is going to be made tomorrow. So don't tell on me, y'all.
That's congratulations. Okay, hey, listen.
I wanted a melanated person to. I wanted to give it to a melanated person first.
Well, look, I appreciate being that melanated person.
I love you.
I love you too. Same, boo. Same. You're incredible. I appreciate your time. Congratulations on the show, on who you are as a person, everything you're doing at HBO Max, and just keep on doing the great work. We see you. You're valued. You are loved. You are celebrated. You are cherished. And again, thank you for just you being you. I'm such an honor being able to have you on my show today. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. So you make sure you send Adrian those dates because I want you to come do Truth Serum.
Boom. I am on it.
I need you and Brooke to be regulars on Truth Serum with me because I need the backup. You know, I need not the backup, but I need the voices there.
You know where to find me. Beep boop bop boop beep boop boop. Yo, Jay, what's up? You free? Yes, I'm unemployed. I'm doing nothing. What time? You know what I'm saying?
No, you're just preparing for the next season.
Hey, can it come fast enough? Because this quarantine COVID bullshit, it's a wrap. It's a wrap on. I'm over it. But hey, I'll take it. Ida, have a great day and much love. Talk to you soon.
Same. See you soon. Bye, babe.
Bye.